How we do, my YouTube followers? It's the Diabetic Beast here. Today I want to talk about whole grain. I don't want to cover too much. There'll always be a different view to every food, different benefits, pros and cons. So yeah, whole grains. What are whole grains? Whole grains are your basically all the foods that were harvested. Most of the time it's the historical farm type of food. So we're talking, the common one is wheat, things like barley, corn. So these are whole grains, and they vary. I mean, specific ones I want to talk about today is wheat. For me and for many, this will sit at the top of the scale in terms of the worst of whole grains, worst of foods. Reason being, the things I want to cover about it is whole grains. You've been told they're better than they're better than processed grains, which is true. But what we need to remember is that whole grains are not the best for you. Whole grains, in fact, can introduce or make things like celiac worse. Can start giving you other bowel, stomach issues, and more specifically, start damaging the cells in your brain, the proteins in your brain, and I think something called ataxia as well. This would you'll start damaging that part of the brain as well. This can make you start sort of losing sort of control of your mind, balance, remembering things, so you start getting memory loss, and this is all to do with whole grains and how they're making it worse or introduce these issues. Now, I'm not saying humans haven't, or civilizations haven't been eating whole grains for many centuries and millenniums, whatever you call it. What I want to highlight is that whatever is healthy, even if it's been eaten for the last century or many thousands of years, it may be, but we've come to realize now that modern science is helping us learn that not all things are healthy, and not all things are healthy for everyone. So we've got to remember this. Healthy foods may have been, but we didn't have the science we have now back then, so we couldn't diagnose, analyze and test and run human tests on people, on animals, whatever as well, in terms of the benefits or the issues that these foods and ingredients can bring. Now we can say a whole grain is good, it's natural, it's from the earth. We can agree on all those points, but what we need to learn is that now, if whole grains we can see are introducing the issues, like I mentioned, to people, especially to diabetics, and making things worse, we need to find out why, and we need to research and do tests into whole grains and see if they're really helping or not. And there's been a lot of research now coming out that they are causing a lot of problems. And in fact, whole grain is the same thing that gets turned into processed grain, becomes flour, or processed wheat, and then this gets turned into things like cereals, Weetabix, and probably the most dangerous of all, flour, plain flour. Number one is your plain white flours, white flour or self-rising flour, and number two is the wholemeal flour, because wholemeal has a bit more fiber, but it's only marginal, and because it's processed, it's still not as good as a whole grain. But with this new research and new findings coming out, we're pretty much saying even if they're not processed and they're whole grains, they're still a problem. So we can see if things were a problem before they were processed, we shouldn't, or we shouldn't go to them, or we shouldn't have gone to them in the beginning. So yeah, just a quick video to highlight the issues with whole grain, and I'm going to put some links below into the studies that support these findings. Until next time, bye bye.